So it's been about a day since we last saw Legends Z-A in the Pokemon Presents, and it's given me a lot of time to think over everything that was shown off. So in this video, I'll go over my thoughts without the guise of hype. And honestly, Pokemon Legends Z-A might change Pokemon forever. But before we begin, I am doing a giveaway for a $70 eShop gift card for the end of August. All you gotta do is stay subscribed to the channel and comment on any video after the 22nd of July. I'll keep track of all the comments in the sheet that'll be linked in the description to ensure legitimacy, and I will pick a winner on August 31st. Best of luck. So I've actually shared my thoughts on Legends Z-A before in a discussion with my brother. That video is an hour long, so if you want to like sit back and relax while listening to me talk, it'll be linked in the top right corner. But in case you don't have that long time, I'm gonna also go over my thoughts, and I kind of changed a little bit of opinions I had in that video. But overall, this game is probably gonna be my most favorite Pokemon game ever. And for the sole reason of the performance. From what we saw in the trailer, it looks like this game's gonna run super smooth, and it looks super great. They are clearly using like the kind of model system they had in Scarlet and Violet, and I honestly love it. The way that the characters look 3D yet anime-esque, it just kind of speaks to me in a way that I don't think any other Pokemon game has in the 3D space. And Legends as a gameplay concept as a whole, I loved. Arceus I spent over 100 hours in, but I think the main problem I had with it was overall performance and graphics. I'm not a big graphics guy, but for a game to be my favorite in the series, I feel like the graphics have to be up to par. And the trailer so far shows that. I think I'm a little concerned because they didn't really show any wide shots, if that makes sense. It was all very close, which gets me a little concerned for pop-in, which it seems to be a common problem for Game Freak titles. If they're able to handle pop-in, I think this game has a almost like 80% chance for this to be my most favorite Pokemon game because of the sheer amount of stuff you can do. But the Switch 2 edition specifically looks amazing and gets me excited to play it on the Switch 2. When it comes to the Switch 1 version, I really don't know. And I'm not gonna lie, I don't really care. Because now that I have a Switch 2, I'm sorry for the folks that have a Switch 1, but I'm gonna enjoy my experience on the Switch 2. One thing I also didn't see the trailer showed off in the presents is any frame dips. Nintendo kind of has this patented adapted frame rate, or that basically kind of lowers frame rate for items that are super far away to save on processing power. I did not see that at all during this trailer, and normally it would have been shown off by now. I honestly forgot if the first trailers, the ones that were shown off on Switch 1, had any, but yeah, it all looks amazing. I'm actually watching the background footage we have right now, and new megas, which confirms the leaks that we talked about in another previous video, gets me excited to see the future. And there was a lot of discourse on Dragonite's design, which was the new mega that got revealed, and honestly, I don't understand why. I think when it comes to Mega Evolution designs, that it should just be more of the same vibe of the Pokemon. For example, if, a Pokemon is, tough and rugged, a Mega Evolution will crank that up to 110%. I think they did that perfectly with Dragonite. Dragonite is like soft and cuddly, and I think the Mega Evolution shows that perfectly. I do kind of see where people are talking about where the wings are kind of, but I think it kind of follows up on the Dragonair to Dragonite in a good way, where it kind of circles back on its evolution line. Really, no complaints for me, and I'm surprised people are so vocal about it online, but that is the Pokemon community. Also talking about Mega Evolutions, the Rogue Megas also got leaked out beforehand, but it just makes perfect sense for a game like this. Like, Pokemon randomly Mega Evolving, it's just like a match made in heaven, honestly. And the boss fights seem a lot more like the noble Pokemon in Legends Arceus, which is great. the only thing I'd really want to see is imagine being able to do this in like multiplayer, because then it would feel like an actual MMO boss fight where you have to like learn patterns and, you know, dodge. I think that would be amazing. Do I think they're gonna add it? No. But do I think Gen 10 might have like a raid system where you're actually running around in an arena dodging actual patterns? Maybe. I do know that in the Terra leak, they were developing some sort of raid system that looks to be this. And my only hope is for Gen 10 to actually have this, but for multiplayer. One of the massive hopes I had when going into the presents was that Z-A would reveal some sort of multiplayer. And my brother did reveal one way they could do that. That seems pretty realistic in our discussion. Back in Legends Arceus, if you died, you dropped your items and then other players can pick it up. I thought that was a really neat idea for Legends Z-A. But I also think that they could maybe extend it to Z-A Royale. Maybe they could take player data, like the customization, and use those for like some random NPCs that are in the Royale. To be honest, we haven't seen a lot of gameplay of it. So because I'm thinking Z-A Royales are something that I could do even if I completed the story, but there's a possibility it could only be basically the gyms, like the version of gyms in this game, and that would be actually very disappointing. But it's interesting that I mentioned gyms because we're talking about a Legends game, and the more I started like thinking and talking about it, the more just this Legends game feels like a mainline Pokemon game. Because if you think about it, like mainline Pokemon games have gyms, you know, and multiple storylines. I know Scarlet and Violet kind of brought that in, and rivals as well. And if I remember Legends Arceus, I feel like they had none of that. They didn't really have any rivals. They didn't really have any gyms, and they had a story, but it wasn't like in the same 3-act structure that we have now. They introduced basically a 3-act structure, one with the professor, where you're doing like, of course, completing the Pokedex. The other one where you're following an investigator. I forgot her name already. I know she was like already in X and Y, but she helps you with side missions. Then you have the main storyline where I believe you're going to be progressing through like Z-A Royale, as well as helping AZ and his hotel. But you also have the rogue mega Pokemon, as well as apparently something with, I think it was Corpo, or the one quote unquote evil group. Random side tangent when talking about the evil group. I absolutely love his design. His name is Corbo, by the way, and he reminds me a lot of, in Scarlet and Violet, that one regular everyday man, the normal type gym leader. And I think everyone loved his vibes and his overall design. And I think it honestly, it works perfect for a villain that isn't really a villain. Like for me, looking at him right now, he's not a villain, but he kind of looks like a villain. And if you think about it, an everyday businessman that is just sick and tired of life, he is gonna look like a villain. So this is how that one Scarlet and Violet gym leader would have turned out if he wasn't such a nice guy. Speaking of looks as well, and this actually kind of ties into my thoughts on Legends Z-A, or my thoughts on the Z-A Royale taking your player data. The customization in this game looks amazing. And if this is like the foundation for Gen 10, I think the future is bright for Pokemon. I think each of the characters look very unique and awesome. And like even when they showed off the customization inside the presents, I think every one of the trainers looked visually distinct. And I also said this in the discussion, I think the only thing they're missing right now is face shapes. The minute that you change the face shapes, I think Pokemon customization is perfect. Normally when it comes to customization in Pokemon games, I just find like one outfit and stick to it. But I always appreciate the options. The Pokemon Company or Game Freak is doing an amazing job with this game. And it's kind of fitting because X and Y was the first game to bring in outfits. And now we're able to get even more customization. They definitely fumbled the bag with Scarlet and Violet. So I think this is definitely a step up. Honestly, like a part of the reason why I think this might be my favorite Pokemon game when we get it is the sheer amount of stuff we could do. And honestly, if this had a competitive scene, I think that would just be the icing on the cake that would solidify this as my favorite Pokemon game. But the amount of stuff you could do, of course, you could fill the Pokedex. They have like a battle pass style system where you could get like TMs and everything. And I think that's a perfect way to incentivize to fill the Pokedex. Because Legends Pokedex are a little bit different, where you're incentivized to catch multiple of different sizes, different, styles of Pokemon, as well as all the side missions, as well as hopefully Z-A Royale. If Z-A Royale is replayable, I think that would be a good substitute for any sort of competitive. Because I think when it comes to like baseline Pokemon games, after you complete the story, there's kind of two ways you could go. Is of course complete the Pokedex, and then kind of either competitive or shiny hunt. And I loved shiny hunting in Legends Arceus, so I hope shiny hunting in ZA is going to be the same. There is a lot of potential here, and I just need confirmation of the shiny noise. And we are getting a demo of this, I think it's like a German game show a little bit before Pokemon Worlds. So I think that's where we might be able to see confirmation of the shiny sound, because I 100% would be doing shiny hunts if that was the case. I don't think I actually talked about the characters when mentioning it. We got Lydia and Naveen, which they're cool, I guess. They're definitely counterparts to the X and Y friends. I don't know, are they really rivals? I think they're rivals. Basically, this is when they start blurring the line between what's a rival and what's not. But of course you got like the dancer, and then you have the fashionista. Well, what is interesting is they did announce that you could choose which one of your friend group to go on to raid battles with, the mega raids. I'm interested to see if that means there's going to be some sort of relationship goal. Like, let's just say you take one of your friends or rivals or whatever you want to call them into every single one of the mega fights. Surely your relationship builds up in some sort of meaningful way. I'm not getting my hopes up on that, to be honest, just because it's Game Freak. Yeah, but looking at this game, I think like Pokemon is going in the right direction. I think we're now on like development year 4, like 4 to 5 when it comes to Gen 10, assuming they developed right after the end of Scarlet and Violet. They probably like split their team in half. Half of it was working on the DLC. The other half started on Gen 10. So they definitely had a lot of time to focus on Gen 10 and, get that in the oven. And my running theory, which I probably will make a whole nother video on, is Gen 10 is going to be a Switch 1 and a Switch 2 game. And if that's the case, they're going to have to figure out a way for it to run on Switch 1. So with it already pre-optimized for Switch 1, it should run phenomenally on Switch 2. But that's a video for another time. And I just can't get over the frame rate and just the overall look at this game. And I don't know, people might be calling me crazy, calling me a simp for the Game Freak, but legitimately it looks so great. And I just have to wait to see gameplay, like official gameplay from people playing the demo, to see if there's any sort of hiccup in the game. Of course, we're gonna get some new mega evolutions. We did get Dragonite, which basically confirmed the leaks. But I'm honestly excited to build my team, more excited than I feel like I've been for a while in a Pokemon game. I think like X and Y, of course, is the start of modern Pokemon, and this is kind of revisiting that, where I feel like this is the next era for Pokemon. I've been using that word a lot, era, when talking about Animal Crossing, but it gets me excited. That basically just sums up my thoughts. This was basically a video of me talking straight to the camera. So if you like this style of content, don't forget to like the video and comment down below what your thoughts on Legends Z-A to get entered into a giveaway for a $70 gift card. I'm trying to reach 100,000 subscribers before the end of this year. I know it's a lofty goal, but I believe we could do it. So if you made it this far, be sure to subscribe. I appreciate you guys so much. I'll see you guys tomorrow.